Hey, it's Amanda, and you are watching a segment from 100 Videos in 100 Days. This started out as a challenge to myself to prove that freedom can come from authenticity and vulnerability, and that life doesn't have to be perfect or look perfect, it doesn't have to feel perfect to be valuable, to really be valuable. And that you don't have to wait to share your gifts till it all looks a certain way. And this is also about what the cost is of waiting to share your gifts. I didn't have a YouTube channel before this. I never did a video of myself. I didn't even like to see myself in camera. So am I scared every time I do this? Yes. But I'm here. I'm showing up, because I'm committed to this conversation about freedom. And the freer I get, I believe the freer you will get. So I invite you to participate as you can. There's no editing here. I get one take. So if it all goes to hell, you go with me. There may be swearing, there may be crying. I may get up and walk around. It's the game. It's authentic and vulnerable. I will look different every day. So that's really the point of it, is in life there's no editing, there's no redos. So who are you going to be? How are you going to show up? What would that look like? And what would be possible if you just showed up exactly as you were and let the cards fall? Would that be freeing? It is to me. And if it is to you, I hope you get something out of these. If there's anything that I say that rubs you wrong or feels off, discard it immediately. It's not for you. It's for whoever needs it, and most likely for me. So when this turns off and the next one turns on, I will be sitting here quietly with my eyes closed. You're not walking into any special session that you're not supposed to see. Everything's transparent here. So I started this to have context in the beginning, because I can see people are jumping in the middle of the series, and I just want to make sure everyone feels included. So I will see you soon. I've tried to make a couple of these since I stopped, and either the card filled up, the battery died, the recording just didn't work right. I don't know, but it kept happening. So I'll work on them as I feel called to, and then if they just don't turn out suddenly again, I'm just going to let them be, because I've had a few kind of funny things happen with electronics when I feel like I wasn't supposed to do something, but I tried to force it, and it just won't do it. So don't know what that means. May not mean anything, but I think the time was a little unusual. So I was working on some projects this morning, and I realized, I don't know how many of these I'll do. I don't know how long I'll ever be here. So I thought that one thing that I would share that I think is really important, and it's something that I did share, I don't know, 2 or 3 videos back. I don't know. The whole thing's a blur. But I talked about asking your ego what it thought your life was supposed to be. Because constantly you hear people, including ourselves, like, well, when my real life starts, or oh, I just don't feel like I'm living my life. And we have all these complaints about this life we're supposed to have. But the life that you're complaining about is the one that the ego created. I'm quite sure of that. So, what I did when I saw this so loudly one day was, it's kind of a longer story as to what happened, why I stopped, but in a nutshell, I saw that where my life that I think I'm supposed to be living was decided years ago or along the way by my ego. And when you're a child, that sounds good. Oh, look at them. They can do that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, yeah, success looks like this. Yep, I want all of that. And so You and your ego, both children, were building this life. And through teenage years. And I think we still keep doing it. We just aren't paying attention. So, I saw that, and that the more decisions you have about this life that you're supposed to live, how you're supposed to live it, let's just call it like a tunnel. And all those beliefs just wrap around in like this tunnel or a tube you're supposed to be walking down. And the more things you've decided on how it's supposed to go, the tighter that tunnel is to go through. So there could be people here that are like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do what I want. I'm here to play. It's all good. And they could just go. And they didn't build these tunnels like some of us did. I think some of us built particularly good ones in religions. Maybe we were really poor and we saw how the wealthy lived, or, what, even if it was just on TV. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could have had the perfect childhood, but you saw things in the media or visiting other people's homes or stories, Disney, it doesn't matter. It built the perfect life. And the reason it builds the perfect life is because it wants to create value. Because if you had the perfect life and you had all the money and you had the beautiful spouse and you had the perfect children and you lived in the perfect place and you had the perfect job and the perfect talents and you were just perfect in everything you did, you would always be someone sought after, someone that everyone would want to be around. Your opinions would be revered. Not many people would tell you, what you're talking about, because your life shows that you knew how to do it because you got all of the parts that we call success done. So the ego likes that. It keeps you safe and it creates value because the ego helped you get there. So that's why the ego wants that. It thinks that, it's doing its job at the highest level. The problem is that when you aren't living that life, which almost no one is, because why would we be? We made it up from imaginary parts and movies and social media and what my great uncle said one time. They're just very random things put together. Or, how did Jesus live? Well, if I'm not doing that, that's a big lining of the tunnel. So these things are in there and we're walking through. And maybe some areas you have less decisions about, maybe about work. Could be about how you raise your kids. So you've got a little bit more freedom in there. Like maybe the tunnel opens up a little bit and then all of a sudden you feel like it's narrowing again. Well, you just entered into area with a lot more beliefs. And that beliefs also come from the past, right? So something happened, you're like, okay, yeah, never let that happen again. We're never dating someone like him or her. Never make that kind of business partner again. So those keep getting added on as adults. So yeah, it feels rigid in there. And it's a rigid tunnel of nonsense. But the ego tells you if you don't do these things, these should and shouldn'ts, and you need to, and if you don't, you will die. It's not like, well, we won't look cool, or it'll be uncomfortable, and I'll teach you, I don't know, whenever, how to find out what the ego's up to, what it's doing, because I kind of came up with the formula for that. And I think it's important because it unravels really what it's doing and why it's keeping these things so in place. And by writing them out, it helps loosen all those beliefs and gives you more room, and also questioning them. So we're doing a variety of things. So basically, I saw that I was in this big tunnel, and I could see all the words and all the beliefs all around. And then I went with my mom, and remember the flushing I was getting on my face? Well, it finally stopped, but I realized what it was anytime I had a judgment, even if I didn't know I was judging, but I was in that tunnel and something should or shouldn't be that way, I'd get this sting on my cheeks. So it was like a little barometer inside of me. And I had taken my mom to a a clinic to a hematologist. And there were sick people all around. And at first I thought, well, it's because, they're older and they're sick, and I'm sure, I grew up having to take care of all that, so I don't want people to get old and sick. So I was sure that's probably why my face was lighting up. And then when I sat down, I looked down at the magazines, and instantly, that magazine shouldn't be that way. They shouldn't be on the cover. Why are they laid out this way? They need to do it this way. And it was just like this. Everything, it didn't matter what I looked at, a thought was coming this way, and a thought was coming that way. And it went on for some time, probably 2, 3, 4 days. And then it got to where I'd have a thought, and then it would come up against the other thought, an opposite view of it, and then it would just dissolve. And yeah, all very strange, and that's the tip of the iceberg. And it's very hard to explain. But as I was writing today, again, one of the beginning things I wanted to talk to people about was writing down the story of you through the view of your ego and how you're supposed to turn out. Because that's what the tunnel you're trying to walk through is being built from. You should look this way. You should talk this way. Start with just you. How should you be just daily? Like, start with your appearance. And then do you in business. And then do you with a home. And do you in a relationship or dating. And any other areas you like, whether it's hobbies or talents or how your relationship would be with your children, each one individually. So start there, because I could say now write one on your son, your daughter, because your ego also made up children before you ever had them. But I would definitely start with you and how you're supposed to be. If you're in a religion, how are you supposed to be in the religion? What's the most perfect version that the ego has that you need to do? Because if you, go to movies you're not supposed to go to, or if you swear, or maybe have occasional coffee, or whatever the rules are, I don't know, you're going to be bumping into that tunnel if the ego indeed has decided something on that. So what that's like is a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension, stress, overwhelm, feeling like you're never really living, you're never really alive. Maybe your skin hurts, you feel uncomfortable in your body. Everyone else is a jackass because they're not living in the tunnels you've built for them. So what's the problem here? The kid's sitting on the couch, but that's not the one your ego figured out that would keep you safe, right? Because they're extensions of you. So if they're not living up to this impossible thing, and they certainly didn't agree to it, then you're going to have anxiety and stress and worry over there with them. So as a baseline, I would start there. In fact, I was telling my sister about it, and she loved it. And I said, I think it would be really fun to have a party, get together. People do book clubs, is to have like an ego night or an ego club and write down what the story your ego told about you, and then share it with each other. I read mine to my sister, and we were laughing. I couldn't stop laughing because it is so insane. It's like the clips from media about famous people. They always look beautiful. They don't seem to age. Everyone loves them, runs at them, cheering, screaming. They get free stuff all the time. They travel around the world. They don't seem to have bad moments. So that's how the ego has yours built. There is no room for humanity in there. And then notice we don't have room for humanity for anyone else. Not really. If they're happy and we're okay with them being happy because they've earned it, then we like that. They're self-sufficient. That's why we like happiness. The ego is okay with happiness because they're self-contained. If the little toddler is happy, you happy? Yep, cool. I don't have to fix something for them. I don't have to chase them around. They're not going to start whining, crying. I can get some things done. My teenagers are happy, good. I'm not going to hear whining. I'm not going to hear about a boy. I'm not going to hear about anxiety. They're happy. So human beings, it's not a celebration of happiness, which means we're peaceful and we're whole and we're complete. It's everybody's going to shut up and leave me alone. The power of happiness. The craziest are self-contained today. So sell happiness. Yeah. So as far as that goes, I'm going to leave that there. But I was starting to say that I'm going to see if my sisters or a group of friends will do the ego night and see if they'll let me film it. I think that would be really interesting to see. Or maybe even just the cousins have teenagers, young adults sit there and look at like, oh, shoot, I'm already building this. Well, good, because they already feel off, don't they? They feel lost. Yeah, they feel lost because they think this thing is it. And yet they don't have the confidence for that because they really don't want it. Yeah, so I think I'll try that. And then I think I just wanted to share a little bit about how things have been a little different for me. Well, they've been very different for me. And I don't want to explain why yet, because I don't have words for that yet. But some things I've noticed is, my house isn't clean. Have I been cleaning it? Yes. I've been clearing stuff out, doing stuff I don't normally do. And does it bother me if it is or it isn't? No. I do not even think about it. Has no bearing on my personality or my worthiness of a human being at all. I still work, I still do whatever, and when I want to clean up, I clean up, and when I don't, I don't. My health is drastically different. I don't have pain. And I've been training to do this marathon obstacle thing. And I haven't worked out with weights or high intensity training for a long time, not for 3 years. And before that, I was doing Pilates. I was basically trying to stay out of the gym. So I've been running, I've been jumping, I've been all the hard stuff that no one wants to do. And I'm actually doing more now than I was when I trained every day with a trainer who trains like Miss Olympias. I can lift more now. There's not much recovery. I mean, I had a day where I was pretty sore. My back, all the things I was afraid of before, I've had zero pain. I fell in April, and that scared me because I started having so much pain between my shoulders. I thought, oh, here's the next thing that's going to take me out, because being on the computer, anything was too much. I couldn't do it. I'm working with my hands. They said I couldn't because my tendons and carpal tunnel and nerve damage and whatever. No, fine. And if I do get a good pain coming up on something, I can whittle that thing down so quickly by the thing I'll talk about another time, but a conversation that comes from the ego. The pain's coming from the ego. Unless you just snapped your leg, or you've got, bacteria that is now pus running through your body, it is almost for sure coming from your ego. Because it's trying to create value again, and it's trying to distract you from being well. Because if you start to feel well mentally and emotionally, it doesn't feel like you're taking it seriously. So it's got to go at the body. Because you can be doing, I don't care who you are, you could have millions of dollars and you can be best actor in the world, whatever it is, but all of a sudden you get some severe back pain, side pain, rib pain, severe cough, like whatever it is, you're down. And not only that, your mind will just attack you. Like, you shouldn't be sick. You got to go. You got to get up. What's wrong with you? Or it'll go to the flip side, like, well, there's nothing we can do. The doctor said this. And if you looked at my MRIs, my x-rays, you'd think that I should not be able to do anything I'm doing. But not only am I doing it, I have tons of energy. I'm working out with young adults. I'm whipping both of them. Didn't expect that. The things I'm doing, by the way my past is gone, because I trained for years, I should be crippled up, so sore. This should be impossible, and it's easy. I don't know what to say about that, other than whatever's happened with the ego is a totally different relationship. So, another funny thing is I realized I haven't thought about my posture in a week, 2 weeks. I always have to think about my posture. You always see me when I start to go like this. And plus I was having that thing between my shoulders. So, and the typing and artwork, I'm always like this. And always was worried about my posture and like, okay, I'll get a thing to fix it here. I saw a thing on Facebook and you could just hook it onto your back and you do this and that. I've worried about it my whole life. I don't worry about it, and I'm actually standing up straighter, and I don't have pain or aching back there. I mean, it's not a thought. So like I said, there's a lot more to what's been going on, but I thought I would just share that, and oh, so much more has been going on. Just drastic changes. But that's where I started that conversation with the ego. Who should you be? How is it supposed to go? All the directives, you should, you shouldn't, you need to, you have to. Don't do this, do this. What's the picture of you in detail? List it, number 1, number 2, number 3. I mean, it'll tell you how to breathe. Like right now, like I have dry mouth, and it's like, you shouldn't have dry mouth. You were never going to have dry mouth. Okay. It's in there. So when you can see something that's been hidden in the background, you didn't even know it was there, it's a very different experience when it's like, almost like your brain got put outside of you. So when you deal with these things that you didn't know were there, you're like, oh, okay, it's you again. Yep, you thought we were doing that thing, but now we're living down here in a centered place. So I will choose what's wise and best for me in this moment. And that's it. Okay, I'll see you guys later.